Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckle Show, where we take a bite out of the movies, literally. And today, we're gonna set two franchises to fight to the death. We have the guy who most likely plays with toys against the guys who literally are toys, talked about by people who look like a toy when compared to you.
Great. So, Home Alone and Toy Story. Right. So we're going to compare characters, we're going to compare the storyline, the special effects, the sequels, and only for this time round, we're going to compare whether they are relevant anymore. This will be an interesting one.
This is hard.
Right, characters.
Let's
characters.
ease into it. Let's ease into
it by characters. So, go for it.
I should start. Okay, so Kevin is an annoying brat. I rooted for the villains in all of the Home Alone films. I was like, come on, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci, kill him! But they sadly never did, spoiler alert. No, seriously, characters have to go to the Toy Story franchise because you have such amazing actors. You have the incredibly talented Tom Hanks in the leading role as Woody. You have Tim Allen as the voice of Buzz Lightyear, an actor that I deeply respect because it was my first and still favorite sitcom with Home Improvement. And what they did was they made polygons talk, but not only talk, they made them work. They made them believable as characters, as people, as animated feelings. And this is insane.
Cool, so your point goes to
My
Toy
point
Story.
goes to Toy Story.
Well, I think, Home Alone 1 and 2, Kevin was a much better character, but Home Alone had other sequels, and the villains were not the same. The villains did not have the same strength. They got weaker and weaker. I mean, Woody and Buzz were superb, absolutely superb, and that pairing is a match made in heaven. I really think so. And my point also goes to Toy Story. Yeah. Right, storyline.
That's basically even tougher because I think the hardest part when you're making a film is taking a simple storyline and both make and keep it interesting. And so with Home Alone, it's the fact that, okay, there is this kid and he is at home and some people want to get into his home. Basically just like the French film Inside, but
well, no, not in the second
different.
one. Not in the second one. He's alone in New York.
Where he's then
and
alone.
They're just getting him personally.
In an entire town, which is basically the same concept that you have in Alien with someone who is basically able to freely move, but still imprisoned somewhere where he can't get out of, where he can't freely do things because, well,
people are chasing him.
It's not the xenomorph, it's Joe Pesci, so... But
that was not funny.
When you go to Toy Story, I think the first one has an interesting storyline with the toy that is afraid of being replaced. I love, and personally I think the best Toy Story is the second one, because for me, as a collector, and I have to explain to you that I love my DVDs so much that I can't even throw away the ones that are broken and no longer work. Because for me, even as a child, I had this feeling that the inanimate objects we play with, the films, the puppets, the toys, they have a personality. I always treated my things with respect. So the thought of them coming to life was something inherent in me since I was a child. So Toy Story for me is a match made in heaven, and that guy, played by the brilliant Wayne Knight in Toy Story 2, is actually me. I love that, and I love this concentration camp for toys that they set up in the third movie. This was a bit over the top, but it was a great storyline. Let's please forget that the fourth one ever happened, because
that was a disgrace.
That was one of the most boring and unentertaining watches I ever had.
I guess your point goes to Toy Story.
My point goes to Toy Story, yes it does.
My point would go to Home Alone if it was just 1 and 2. Sadly, it's not 1 and 2. So, again, similar concept. Toy Story, they really had to get creative with toys just talking to each other. You could just blank it out like that, but I think 1 was superb, Toy Story 1. 3 was amazing. You were emotionally attached to the third one. Second one was okay, they dragged it. But the second Home Alone was a masterpiece because you knew what you were expecting and they still delivered it with an amazing storyline. I mean, if it's Home Alone 1 and 2, then definitely Home Alone, but it's not in this case, so again, Toy Story gets the vote. And next one, special effects. Special effects, we're gonna have a look. The stunts versus the effects in this case, because this is pretty much a whole animated movie.
In this case,
It's
because
computers.
this is a special effect.
So stunts with the special effects.
But the thing is, when you talk Home Alone, I think what stands out, what really makes the Home Alone franchise stand out is the acting, especially by Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. I like the acting
That
of Macaulay
pair is really
Culkin. That was it,
really
what
cool.
there is to like about the films. But I think when it really comes to the technicalities and to the special effects, even considering all the props, all the traps that Kevin sets out, basically, you could go as far as to say that as much as there is this rumor that Malcolm in the Middle is actually only the backstory of Breaking Bad, you could say that Home Alone is just a backstory for Saw, with then Kevin McAllister becoming John Kramer and devising these amazing traps. If Saw
So
was
which one has the better effects, man?
Toy Story, for hell's sake! What are you
I disagree.
asking?
I think my vote goes straight with Home Alone.
Really?
The stunts were brilliant, and
They were.
to craft that kind of skill is shown because animation was used throughout the whole project. But here, they really had to make sure that the stunts felt real.
The
to
timing.
the audience. Superb.
The timing was superb.
On a different level.
Yeah.
My point goes to Home Alone, and your point clearly goes to Toy Story.
Deserved. It's a deserved point. If we were actually to talk about timing and only the
Different
comedic timing, maybe I would have given it to Home Alone.
Home Alone
But
for
if
me.
we're
Home
just
Alone.
talking about the effects, this is a masterpiece. This made an entire genre possible.
Sequels.
This is like the Citizen
Talk
Kane
to
of
me. Sequels. Right. We have Home Alone 3, 4, and 5, sadly, to include in this. But Home Alone 2, I still think is better than Home Alone 1.
Such as the case with Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 is not better than Toy Story 1.
I think so.
And for that reason, my vote will go to Home Alone because the expectancy set by Home Alone 1 was so high and they delivered it in Home Alone 2. But the expectancy set from Toy Story was massive. They did not deliver it in 2. They delivered it in 3.
Wait a second, I have to go back to the camera and figure out, did you just actually say you're giving that point to Home Alone?
I am giving that point to Home Alone.
Oh, because
Based
I was,
on 1
I
and
was
2
just,
and
I was
being
just
2 better than
rewinding
1.
because I tried to rewind this because
Yeah.
I thought I had a strange sound in my...
So why are you going to give your point to Toy Story?
Is there really a reason that you would need to give for that? Okay, Toy Story has 1 crap sequel. That's okay. Home Alone has 3 crap sequels.
But 2 is better than 1.
And by crap, I mean bottom of the barrel garbage. I mean a film where both Malcolm McDowell and French Stewart, 2 actors I really appreciate, have to be ashamed that they were a part of. This is 2 decent films and 3 crap films. This is 3 great films and 1 crap film. So when it comes to the quality of the sequels, there is no discussion for me. This is Toy Story.
Fine, so we're at 2-2. Well,
Exactly.
you're all out. But
I am 4-0.
all out. So
You're
the
2-2?
relevancy, I'm 2-2. The relevancy.
Okay.
The relevancy. I think Toy Story is much more relevant now. Not because it was released later, but the fact that Toy Story has kickstarted so many adults to watch animation movies, whereas the concept of watching a child actor anymore is gone out the window, and it's just not there. It's not as entertaining, and would I choose Toy Story or Home Alone right now? I think I would watch Toy Story, for the simple fact that there's Despicable Me, there's The Invincibles, Pets, there's so many cool animation movies you can watch. This concept of a child being the main character has died down, sadly. It's Richie Rich had it, but that was it.
And Richie Rich was Kevin McAllister. But you could go to King Ralph and take John Goodman for that matter. But actually, I like your argument, but I would view it completely different. Because you say there are so many different animation films. And this is a problem in that context for Toy Story, because of course Toy Story is dated.
It's the leader.
Holy Christ. If I look at Toy Story 1 when I watched this, I thought I plugged in my PlayStation 2. But the thing is, it's an old movie. And we should respect it for what it is. It made the grounds for everything. A few months ago, I was watching...
Home Alone did not. That's the thing.
A few months ago, I was watching Coco, which, in my opinion, is the crowning achievement in animated movie making. This is the best thing that Disney and Pixar have ever released. This is a masterpiece. But you cannot forget the roots. This is to some degree, comes from this. So when it comes to the relevancy, this is still gold. Home Alone comes more from the typical pratfall, slapstick comedy kind of film. And I have to say, while I liked the Home Alone films, I think there are so many more comedies that are much better and much more refined. If you look at the filmographies of Jim Carrey, or, who am I forgetting? Leslie Nielsen. Two of my favorite comedic actors. If I were to watch Home Alone again, or Dumb and Dumber, or Ace Ventura, or The Naked Gun, it would go to all three of these before I touch this one again. Because it did inspire a lot, but it feels a lot more dated. Especially in the 21st century, when you think, okay, this situation is never going to happen now because that kid is left alone, that kid picks up his phone, calls someone, the deed is done. You don't need
if you
90 minutes
that literally
of the
toys
film.
don't talk. So toys are not
God, okay, so all points go
to Home Alone. But
to my neighbor Totoro.
We have a winner, we have a clear winner.
Yeah, it's a clear winner.
I think it's Toy Story. Toy Story has done phenomenally well, and it laid the ground for other superb movies in the genre. Whereas Home Alone was probably the end point. I think it was the peak of these kind of movies. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
That's everything we have time for today. If you liked this video for whatever reason, then please tell us so. Drop your opinion about Home Alone and Toy Story in the comment section below. If you want to hear us talk about even more videos, then please click that subscribe button, hit that bell to make sure you're notified whenever we put up more crap like this. And we will see you guys again on the next Pork and Knuckles show.
Take care.